Good morning and welcome. I am Jean, and this is Let's Talk. If it's about stitching, we will talk about it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It is great to see you this morning. And as stated in the description, title of our live this morning, this will be part 2 of our Needlebook of the Month series. Good morning, Judy Hebert. It is great to see you. And Michelle with Michelle's Crafts and More is here this morning. Katie Crafts is here this morning. Thank you for joining me. It is great to see you. And there is dear daughter Danielle with Danielle's Stitchery. Hello and good morning. I hope you are feeling somewhat better, Danielle. You've been having a rough go of it. Good morning, Carol Rochelle. It is great to see you also, as always, here every time and early. Thank you so much. And Kelly's Quilts and Cruises is here. She says, good morning, chatters. And there will be hopefully a lot of chatting going on this morning. And Lynn is here with Just for the Health of It. Good morning, frosty morning here with a dusting of snow. Well, you can keep that. We don't want it, Lynn, but at least yours is just a dusting of snow. There are a lot of places that have feet of snow this morning, so be glad you only had that dusting. That's great to hear, Danielle. She says getting better, pressure is not as bad. That is awesome. And if you see me looking down, it's because Whip is sleeping underneath my desk, and his head is presently right on top of my feet. So I have to be careful so I don't wheel the wheels of the chair on him. But Kelly says we have winter just a bit more. Nothing is sticking to the road, but there's about 2 centimeters on vehicles. Okay. There's a ban of snow in my yard. That's awesome, Danielle. I like that. Yeah, there's a ban of snow and ice anywhere near me. Let's just say that. Lynn says, LOL, I didn't know I could do that. Yeah, if that would work, most of us would be doing that, I think. There's a few that, still enjoy the snow and want snow, but I'm beyond that stage. I'm old enough. I lived growing up in Minnesota, and now in Ohio. So I have had my years of snow and ice. I would gladly do without it now, but I do know there are still those that enjoy it just as I did when I was a kid. 2.5 centimeters is an inch. Yes, I did know that, Kelly. That's about the only part of the metric system I know. But good morning, Stir. It is great to see you. And she says, good morning to myself and all, which Stir is a member of the Stitching Friends. Welcome, welcome. Not really sure, Lynn, but it sounded good to me. It sure did, and it gave us a laugh. So thank you, Danielle. Even though you're feeling bad, you can still get that humor in. Great to see. Need a drink. Hazelnut this morning. I decided to try something different for a change this morning. Good morning, June. It is great to see you, and I hope you are doing better as well. And Charlotte Howard is here. And Whip, yes, I'm in East Texas, and we are headed to the 70s. Wow. I wish I could join you, Charlotte. We do have sunshine this morning, so I think it's going to be a little bit warmer this afternoon, but definitely not the 70s yet. All right. It looks pretty enough when looking out the window, but I would be happy to go back to our usual rain. Well, okay. Yeah, rain's better than snow, but we don't need rain either. Our yard is saturated. Let's just put it that way. And with 2 puppies, yeah. And thankfully, we do not have carpeting in our house, so it's a little easier. But yeah, now is not an easy time for trying to keep the floors clean. Let's just say that. Okay. And June says she is doing much better. That's awesome, June. Now stay that way. Stay away from those emergency rooms in hospitals. If you got to go to a doctor for an appointment, that's understandable. But yeah, we want to see you getting much, much, much better. I'm tired of the rain. Yes, I am also. And tired of having to stand in the rain while you're training puppies to yeah, go outside. Good morning, Debbie. It is great to see you this morning too. And Debbie is also one of the members of the Stitching Friends. In case you don't know what the Stitching Friends are, that is what those that join them as members to my channel. I only have one level and we are called the Stitching Friends. So when you hear me to refer to that, that is what that is. And if you're ever interested in that, just click on that join button and you will find out the information on that and how to become a member if you so desire. There are a few little perks to it, and they aren't all listed, as I didn't want to put everything that is included in that. Just know that on those pop-up members only Zoom meetings, Stitch Days, there's a lot more involved than just that during those times. So, okay, awesome. Got that little bit of housekeeping out of the way. And Kelly says, we actually need more rain. Local mountains hardly got any snow, so we could have a problem come spring. Yeah, we don't never want that. And I was going to say, of course, with the farmers around here, they are always glad to see rain. But if they get too much, then they can't get in the fields either. So there's pros and cons to that all the time. But there are several of you here, so I am going to get started with our Stitch Talk and the part 2 of our needle books this morning. And as I said, there might be a little binding prep thrown in there at some point too. We will wait and see how things go. But I am going to go ahead and bring in our little project view camera right here. And I know, and I can never remember which is the one that keeps mentioning this needle book that I haven't finished, because she is watching along with me and seeing how I finished that. So if you, I don't think she's here yet, but yeah, hopefully she will jump on at some point today. But I'm going to, no, I think I will leave that needle in there. But this is one of the needle books that have been working on, and I plan to do hopefully a little bit of stitching on that one this morning. So can show how we do complete and continue on with them. But I also wanted to explain on this one, which is also in the process. I like that. Good morning, Aunt Debbie. Oh, Danielle, you are a case for sure, but a good case. And again, I need my coffee this morning. I'm sorry. Oh, but before I forget, those of you that are working on the jellied charm quilt, which is the one hanging behind me, our quarterly quilt along, let me know in the chat how you are coming along on that, because March is the last month of the first quarter and should be wrapping up on that, and everybody should be completing their quilt top. And hopefully some of you will find time to start quilting on it, maybe, possibly. That would be great to see. But I'm looking forward to seeing photos of those of you that are doing that jellied charm quilt. Would love to see your progress on that in the Facebook group. So, but I wanted to explain on this little needle book that, you know, I rushed to get started. And so I kind of forgot one of the steps in doing that. Good morning, Lori Clark. And she says, now that's a big mug. Yes, it is. In fact, it takes 2 hands to, it's like, I don't have the strength in the one to hold it up and take a drink, but it's a Pioneer Woman cup from Walmart, and I believe it holds 24 ounces. So yeah, it's a good size, like a big mug of coffee. But right. But as you may recall, on this one, which I haven't completed all the things that are being added to this one, because I need to do another, well, I could do it now that I have figured out how to correct the mistake I made in doing this one. As you know, when you are doing your needle books, and I will bring this one up real quick again, just to show as the explanation, you will notice that this is the batting on the other side of this. It doesn't have the next page on it yet connected, which will be this one. And when all the stitching is done, that is when you will connect those two, which this is the cover and this is the inside page. Those will then be connected together and stitched around. So, which is not what I took into consideration on this one, because I was rushing through prepping it, getting ready to show the process of making a little needle book. So where I had this one, and I'm showing the wrong page here, okay. This one where I corrected, where I had already stitched this on, and it showed through, of course, on this side, because this is the next page, because they are all already connected by the middle right down there. So those pages are connected to my book already. Well, I forgot that this would actually be the other side of the page, and therefore the stitching, when I do that, is showing through. So what I need to do now is I am going to correct that by, on this one, it's the first page, so there's no way to add the other onto that right now, and with the stuff that's already stitched on it. So this is going to be a little pin cushion, which will cover the part of the stitching that is going to show through there that I haven't done yet. And then this, I am going to remove the stitching from here, and I am going to add another page of the batting, so that will be the back side then of this. And of course, it will not be stitched down again until all of the stitching is done, so that this will be stitched separately. Whatever is going to be on this side will be stitched separately, and then those two will then be at the end stitched together, so none of the stitching on the back side will show. And that is how that is being corrected. So, and on the back side, which I don't know what I'm going to put here yet, but that is just a single little piece that will be stitched down on there after the stitching on this side is placed on there. And that will correct all of that, so none of the stitching on any of those pages is going to show. It just adds a couple more pages to the book, which can never have too many pages for all your stuff in a needle book anyway. So that is how I will be correcting that one. And we will close that back up so everything stays inside there. Scoot that back over there. And let me catch up on the chat, just in case I missed any. Ooh, you did well on your interview, Lori Clark. That is great. You start Thursday. Boy, that didn't take long from the interview to the start date, did it? That's awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great to hear that. Okay. I hope you enjoy it. I know it has something to do with horses on a horse farm. Okay, you are welcome. Awesome to hear. I think I get it. Decorate and put your needles and stuff on the pages of batting. Then sew together when done. Yes, of course, you don't want your needles and stuff on it. Those you will add after it's all done, but you need to make sure that you do the stitching. And again, yes, you need to make sure that any stitching you are going to be doing on this page, See, it's just the batting on there. I can lift them off separately right now. They are not connected. You want to make sure that any stitching that you do, which this one was done correctly. Yeah, I didn't rush on it, but you want to make sure any stitching you are going to want to be doing is all done on all of your pages before you then connect them together, and it will be all one. So yes, Kelly, I'm glad that you got that. Pockets and such. Yes, everything that's going to be stitched on needs to be stitched on before the other side is put on. Why this one was so easy to forget is because it's not fabric pages. It was just the batting, which this was actually wool. That's why it looked a little different. This was actually wool. It's not batting, but I will be using wool as the batting as the back of it, which looks similar and very much the same. It won't matter. So yeah. So before I can stitch, well, before I add the back to this, these will have to be stitched, and any stitching that I'm doing over here, and of course this pocket and everything, would have to be stitched on first. So they would all be separate, not connected pages, just the long ones, not folded over, and then you will connect them all together. Okay. So glad that I explained that in a manner that someone could understand. Okay. And Lori Clark says, I also got a bookkeeping job as well from the same lady. She knows my boss from my old position I had. Small world bonus. That is awesome. Awesome, Lori. You're going to be doing great. You'll just have loads of extra cash coming in for all that fabric, right? And Kelly also says, I do paper journals in a similar manner. Yes, I also do, Kelly. Final decor of stitches and whatnot comes last, but structural elements first before sewing together. Yes, which I combine cloth and paper together. I usually make a cloth cover and then the paper pages inside for the journaling, which have one that I'm working on hand quilting the cover of it presently. I do believe, and it's usually right back there, but the quilt is covering that up right now. So I can't point over there to the cubby behind the design wall over there. Well, it's not a design wall. It's just a design. Mine is hanging like a curtain. It is a sheet of flannel that hangs over the front on a drapery rod. Oops, drapery rod right there that my flannel hangs from, and then I can pull it together in the middle when I'm not using it. That is what I am using presently. I am trying to come up with a better method because since there isn't a flat surface behind it, I have to pin everything on my design wall. It won't just stick on it like it would if there was a flat surface behind there. Yes, that's awesome, Kelly. Hey, we have something in common. Well, we have a lot in common, but another thing in common. So awesome. Great to hear. And let me see. What did I pull? Okay. We need to set this other one to the side for a minute, and I'm going to see where I can set it without bumping a camera that it may be out of the way, and bring up the new one that we started where I was showing you to gather your supplies and everything for it last week. And so now when we open this box that was rather messy with everything in it, it's a little bit more organized because I have decided what I am going to be putting on. Less craft time, but bills get paid. Yeah, like I said, that's a pro, right? Pros and cons to everything, but awesome. I'm happy for you, Lori. But this is where I had everything in that I would decided that I would pull from for this will be the new. Oh, I always go the wrong direction. It's opposite for me, correct for you. But this will be the front of my needle book. And of course, that is the total cover, as it is one piece, the front and the back, before we fold it over and make it. But that is my cover to my book. And then when we flip it over here, that will be the inside page that I have decided. This is the, get it over there. This is the little section that I will have that I can put needles and stuff in. This is one of the stamps that I showed that I stamped with the distressed ink, and it will have embroidery on that. This is fabric behind the lace, and it goes all the way across if I go the correct way. And that will be individual pockets where the pins are. I don't know if you can see that. That is where I will be stitching down. And I always go the wrong direction so that it has the pockets in that. And then we have a little mini yo-yo here, a piece off of an old doily. And there will be stitching on here also to embellish. And of course, then the back. But these are not connected yet, as they shouldn't be. Once all the stitching and everything is done, then they will be connected. So that is how far I have come along on this. Nothing is stitched down. Everything is just pinned at this moment in time. And I will go ahead and I will baste some of those elements down on the edges and then decide on what stitching I am going to do. And I don't know if you can tell, that is a beautiful paisley fabric that is on. So I am going to, and if I turn that over, you'll be able to see more of that. When I do my embroidery on that, I am going to be doing some stitching actually following the design that is already on that fabric. So that is what I will be doing there. And as you recall on the sample here, we have all those buttons, right? If we go the right direction again, we have all those buttons that are on there. And I do have, my scissors always fall out of there when I do that. I do have down here, I have gone through my vintage buttons and I have pulled a bunch of brown, taupe, gray, beige ones that I will be adding to that and stitching on there. So that is at the stage that is at. And of course, I also, along with that, have, and just in a cute little, if I put my hand on there, you can see this is just a big coffee mug, one that I just use for decorative purposes only because it matches the stitching cottage. Oh, okay. I'll catch up on there. But this is all the threads, which is Valdani, size 12 pearl cotton that I have chosen that I will be working with on that needle book. So that is the stage that you all need to, that are doing this along with me, need to be at for the next time that we meet, which will not be next Monday, but probably the Monday after that. So you will have 2 weeks to get to the stage where you are ready to start stitching all your stuff. You can choose your embellishments, get it set up and everything, have them pinned down, and then in 2 weeks, we will start the stitching on that. And Danielle says, beautiful nails, Mama Jean. Oh, thank you. What are they? Oops, there they are. Yeah, they're a little iridescent this morning. Yeah, but thank you very much. And our treasured home is there this morning. Welcome, Nancy. She is also one of our Stitching Friends members, and she says, looks pretty. Thank you. And Lori also says pretty. So thank you very much. But that is where we are on the needle book of the month. And you have 3 different samples there. that you can kind of go by. And I'm going to try and line this one back up under here. There we go. Because I will be attempting here in a little bit to do some stitching on this one. So you could actually see that also this morning. And Stir says, Jean, you share so many fabulous ideas, but I would tune in simply to see your gorgeous fabrics. Thank you, Stir. That's awesome. I do have a lot of fabric, and I try anymore not to purchase any unless, when it comes to backing and borders, sometimes even though we have a lot of fabric and a large stash, we may not have the yardage that we need for some of that. So I do allow myself to buy fabric when it comes to needing for a backing or border, that type of thing. But other than that, I really try to use from my stash anymore because I have a stash beyond my life expectancy. Let's put it that way. And I think there's life beyond life expectancy. I know there's a quilting acronym for that, but I'm not saying it correctly, but there is one. Can't think of it right now. But those things like, of course, that WIP is named after works in progress. I have many, 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 many of those too, which I might add a day in that's just work on a WIP so I can get more of those done. That would be great. I know Mona does. Mona. Messing her channel up. Mona did what? Does that on Fridays with a panel that comes up, but I might see about something like that, and I will probably be joining her some of the times on her panel doing that. But that is a great way to get on some of our WIPs accomplished if we dedicate a certain time to doing them. How I can dedicate any more time to anything, I do not know. As you know, I have a very, very tight schedule. Not much room to schedule other things in, but I keep trying. But I'm not sure, Stir, whether you are or not working on the Jellied Charm quilt behind me. I mentioned earlier, for those that are, this is the month of March, the final month of our first quarter for the quarterly quilt along, which is the Jellied Charm quilt. So you should all be wrapping up your progress on that and adding those borders and getting your quilt top done. And hopefully some of you may even be able to have been, keeping up all along and may be able to do some quilting on it this month. That would really be awesome. If I could get the one that's on the long arm off and another one that is for a friend quilted on the long arm, I would be able to put that on and start working on it. Yes, WIP work would be great. Yes, it would. And I could do that since I go live on the Zoom anymore. Some of you that would like to come up and work on a WIP along with me would be more than welcome to do that. We will see what kind of interest there is in doing that. But there I go, adding more to my schedule, but in a good way because it would be getting something done. Your Jellied Charm is ready for borders. Awesome. Very good, Debbie. That's great to hear. And I know I have seen some of yours along the way because Debbie and I do get together in the stitching cottage. So, but I think no, I'm trying to decide what order I want to do this in. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do some of the stitching on this. And I'm going to make sure, just so I don't mistakenly go through any of that, take that middle section out. So I'm only working on the front page. And I do have, set your camera up to show your long arm. Unfortunately, that just doesn't work well in the way that my setup is in the room, or I would do that, Kelly. But yeah, it would be too far away. You wouldn't be able to see anything. And, to set it up that you really could, it's in the way for being able to go up and down your long arm. So no, I don't. And if you try and mount the camera to the actual long arm itself, so it goes along with you, it vibrates too much. So you do not get a good view. I have tried that, Kelly. So no, I just, too much work to try and figure out a way that you can have the camera and it's not in the way. So, and if you don't have the right camera, it can also be very noisy as well. So, but yeah, I know there are those that do have more technology and different cameras than I do that can have it set up that way, but I just don't have a way to do that yet. I wish I could, but I don't. But that's not the main problem anyhow. The main problem is not having things in the way of the long arm to be able to get around the long arm to use it without having to move everything out of the way every time. That's my main problem. And I'm still working on that because no matter what size sewing area, quilting room, whatever you have, there is never enough room. And Lynn says whip day would be fun. I only have 2, LOL, but it helps keep us moving along on stuff. Oh, how I wish I only had 2. I mean, I have, oh, yeah, I don't want to, I would try and count 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and we don't want to count those. 10, 11. I have about 12 that I can see right now, just 13. I just saw one over my shoulder. I have 13 that are just sitting around me currently, presently, right now, today, that I am working on all at the same time. And so 2 would be awesome. That would be, then I wouldn't have the problem also of using the long arm to put the things on that I'm working on that are always in the way when I want to use the long arm. But, and those of you that, if you caught me on Saturday morning with Sean, the guy who sews, instead of working on a project that I already had started, I decided to start a new project to work on along with him. And that was the tulips and tossed greens, which is a Kim Deal pattern. It's a table runner that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. So it is a personal project for myself. And you can see that middle section that is now ready for all the handwork and everything that goes on it, I did complete during that. Well, I got the middle section, then added the borders right after that on Saturday. So that is ready to go, which, yeah, silly me. Start a new project instead of working on one of the over 200 that I already have going. And Stir says she is cutting binding while listening to you for the 2 charity quilts. Awesome. Hope to start quilting later. Would be nice if you could keep talking to us all day. Well, minus a lunch break for you, of course. Well, that can be arranged, Stir, not as a live on YouTube, but I could possibly open up, Zoom so we can get together and chat and visit, and you could come and go as you please for the rest of the day, and we could work on some things together. That's always a way of doing that. And since you are one of the members, I mean, that can happen at any time for the members only, a pop-up Zoom stitch day. So awesome. I will have to do that. And Stir came up with the greatest idea, I have to tell you, during the first annual Quilt for Charity marathon. And she called, those with the whips and not getting them done. She says, we need to have whippersnappers stitch day, which was her saying, whip, not getting the dumb, whimper snappers stitch day, and work on whips. So I am working on that. That will be coming up. So it's on, I have put it on to add to my schedule. So I think that would be an awesome thing to do. And, call ourselves the whimper snappers. Here we are. Instead of wimping out, we're getting some of those whips done. But that was really funny, but it was great. Jean just put 2 zeros after her number. Okay. After my what number of my whips or what? I'm not sure, but I've only been quilting since November 2023. Just give me time. I- that's plenty of time to have more than two. So you are very disciplined, Lynn. I mean, I give kudos to you. I wish. And those that I teach now and talk to, I say, you know, learn from what I have done. Do not have that many, I mean, it's okay to have, I would say, how many days of the week are there? 7. Okay. Stop at 7. If you have 7 works in progress, don't go beyond that. That would be one a day to be working on. But Kelly's quilt says, Lynn, I don't have loads of whips and I have been quilting since 2015. I'd rather get projects done. Time and finances dependent, of course. Yes. Yeah. And mine, I mean, I have been quilting for 40 years. So I have accumulated a lot. I have taught quilting. I have worked at a quilt shop. So that kind of enables us and adds a lot to what we have and a lot to our projects. So no, Lynn's too. Oh, okay. I've got you. Yeah, yeah. I'm okay. I got you now, Debbie. I see that. Got it. Yes, that is my personality type too, Kelly, says Lynn, which my sister, who is a quilter. I don't think she quilts much anymore, but she did. But she worked on one project at a time until it was finished. And she always bought just the amount of fabric called for that project. So her stash were just little strips of what was ever left over from that individual project, and then she would go on to another one. I am not that disciplined. I am not that focused. I love to be doing many things at a time. And of course, I don't just quilt. So a lot of my whips aren't just quilting. I mean, they are, like the needle books and um, other forms of embroidery. Now, except I have to be honest, those are not in the count on my inventory that is, over 200. So there we go. I'm adding more. My quilts that are done and that are waiting to be quilted are also not included on that inventory. And so we just keep adding to the number. Um, I have 15 or so cross stitch whips though. Yeah. Yeah, I have 2 great big double drawers full of cross stitch projects and starting another one for the group. And that is what we will be doing on Friday. We started the instructions and getting everything ready for that. And we will be working on that this coming Friday during Stitch Tips and Chat. So Kelly says, Lynn, I use those plastic boxes from Michael's to put projects in. I do set up 1 or 2 projects ahead of time, ready to go in a box. Yes, those I have found, I mean, there are many, many, and they are very similar. And I was just noticing that Hobby Lobby is actually the cheapest resource on getting the 12 by 12, just a little over that. A 12 by 12 block, and all your supplies and everything will fit in on those plastic boxes that I'm sure Kelly is referring to. But theirs are cheaper than any around that I have seen recently. And Stir says, all the talk about whips during the charity sew along got me peeking in the closet, and I pulled out my second oldest whip from the early 20,000s. Hope to finish this week. Yep. Keep talking, Jean. Oh, if I didn't have other responsibilities, sir, I could. Believe me, I could keep talking for a long time, but I would start boring you all. And Lynn says, I did buy some of those Sterilite clear shoe boxes to set up storage stuff. Yeah, depending on what there's all kinds. And like I say, the decorative, I mean, make it fun, make it pretty. Use, use whatever you have and add some pretty fun decorative ones in along with them, just to make your room and your space in your area bring joy to you as well. That's the way I like to look at it. And Lynn says, I'm ready to start sorting scraps as soon as I get some. Oh, there was a question on that in my Facebook group, and I have done a video that shows how I fold and store and organize all of my fabric from the yardage right down to the small scraps. So if you ever want to go back and look for that, it's one of the Tip Demo Tuesdays from a while back. But I do go through that, and it just shows how I do it. There's many ways, and people do it differently, but yeah. So you might want to check that out, Lynn, so you'll be all ready when it does come time for you to start sorting those scraps. Oh, maybe I have found a place to get rid of some of mine, Lynn. And Kelly says, yes, the 12 by 12, supposed to be for scrapbook paper. I have a couple of them in my big scrapbook tub too. I have one that is a double one and even has the areas for putting your threads in and stuff. So yeah, they have them for both scrapbooking and quilters and crafters of all kinds out there. Just take a look and you will find some awesome things. And Lynn says, oh, I have tons of scrapbooking stuff too, so maybe I will purge some of the paper for fabric. That sounds like fun too. I would have a hard time doing that. I have a hard time purging everything. I touch it and I think, no, I can use it for this, I can use it for that, and I should be threading my needle. I said I was going to do some stitching during this time. I should at least get, a couple stitches in before I get off here. I was going to work on some of the French knots that on these little dots. That's an easy way to do when there's dots on the fabric. I usually end up putting French knots in that area. And I need to find where I put my needle threader. I think I have one in the box over there, but I thought I pulled one over here, but I guess not. I'll have to, I don't think there's one in here, but we will check. We will check. Yes, there is. In my trusty dusty little eyeglass type one that I make. Up, there was a needle threader in there. So right where it's supposed to be. Only because the Valdani size 12 is a little thicker and I have a hard time getting that through the needle. Sometimes I have a hard time getting the wire of the needle threader through the needle. But ooh, that light is shining in my eyes. Okay, so we have that threaded. And Lynn says, I love being prepared. I'm always trying to be ahead of what's coming down the line. Yes, I don't like to have to go searching for things that I need, or you think you have everything and you find out you don't. Much the same, Lynn. And Kelly says, I can donate scraps if you want. Give me a few months, though. I'm actually working through my scraps and using them. I could work through mine forever and not use them all. That's the problem. Oh, just don't want to get rid of them. And my scraps are sorted according to what I use them for, even. So, yes, that is what this is. And that is why I used the needle threader. Just a little harder to get through. But I am going to do, and of course it's not in the view for you to see while I am stitching, and over this way. There we go. But I'm going to do French knots, and I think I'm going to wrap it 3 times only because this is a big dot on there. I normally would not, but and I need to open this page up, of course. To do that, I can't get through to my needle on the underside, doing this a little awkwardly right now. We are not going to do that for the rest of it. Just realized that. But now, excuse me while I flop it open here instead. That will make it a little bit easier, which I would normally have this on my lap. This is an awkward position for stitching. And that makes it much easier to get at. And try not to pull your little other threads that are over there on that. The only thing I haven't lost is the sewing machine, although I had one stolen. Oh no, how did that happen, Stir? Did you take it someplace and it was stolen, or did somebody actually break in and steal a sewing machine or borrow it and not bring it back? That would be terrible. I can't imagine having a sewing machine stolen. The sewing machine design is gorgeous, isn't it? That is I don't remember if that's the free pattern or not. I will have to check. And I don't think I'm looking, sorry that I'm standing up, getting a little close and personal there. I was just, oh, we've got a dog really right on top of me here. He's totally out of the bed and on me. You got to flip him over so he doesn't get hurt. Yeah, readjust there, buddy. It's like, whoa, I couldn't move at all. Okay, sorry, but there is a one very similar to this. So I'm not sure whether this is the Beverly McCullough one or it is the free one that I have. I think you have seen and noticed the one that I do have in the files section on the Facebook group that is very similar. Or is this one? Like I said, I can't remember. And you can download that. And yes, it works. It works awesome for putting on the front of a needle book. And Jean, welcome, welcome. I didn't catch you if you've been in here for a while or you just joined us. She says that cross-stitch sewing machine pattern is the cutest. Yes, and it's real fast and quick to make also. So, and Sandra Bill says, wow, love what you're working on. Thank you. And I can't remember if I know there is one of you that keeps asking when, wants to follow along while I am doing this and is wanting to see how I do that and finish that up. And I'm sorry that I cannot remember exactly who you are. So if you are on here, which I'm thinking that could be Sandra, but I'm not sure, let me know because I just can't remember at the moment. I know that there's, comment, I can go back. I should have written it down. Think of that afterwards. But I know there is one of you that has been looking forward to me completing this needle book because it has been quite a long time working on it because it keeps getting put to the side. Okay, I didn't know if it was this one or a different one because they are both very similar, Debbie, but thank you. She says it is in the Facebook group. Okay. Which it will show it made in a tiny little hoop with a pocket. And that you make it is how they display it. I just decided it looked nice to use on some type of slow stitching instead, which I consider the needle books a form of slow stitching. That's why it's taking so long. No. Oh. Slow stitching does not necessarily mean taking a long time. but just add that in there for a little laugh. He wants to become one with his mama. Yeah, he can be sound asleep, and if I get up to walk across the room to do something, he gets up and follows me, even though he's sleeping. He's a little shadow. Oh, yet when you let him out, he thinks the word come means no, run around the yard and play. Make her believe that you're coming and then run the other direction. Hello, Debbie. Welcome, welcome, my little sister from In Quiltfect, which those of you, I'm sorry, I need to mention each time, I guess, until you get used to it. But if you are a content creator and have a YouTube channel, all you have to do is put exclamation point selfie, SELFIE, in the chat, and it will bring up the link to your channel for everyone to go over and check out and see and subscribe to you. So that saves a little work on the moderators by having it set up that way. And I am thankful for Danielle in helping me get that set up. And I'm out of view on here again. I'm sorry, as I moved along, it kind of got out of view of what I was doing. And Eva is here with us this morning. Welcome, Eva. Great to see you as well. And I think I saw something that you were starting to work on, Eva, if I recall. I'm not sure exactly where it was that I saw that, but I know whatever it was your name that popped up on my social media somewhere this morning. And this keeps working right out of the camera. I am sorry. Hard to look both places at once. And if it wasn't backwards, it would be a whole lot easier. But I am just doing some French knots on the polka dots that are already on the fabric here. And those of you that have come in late, if you are interested in the needle book of the month and the needle books that we have been working on, the samples samples, whatever you want to call them, that I have shared, you will want to definitely go back and watch the replay, because it is too much to go back over and recap. So, and that was the last, and because this is going to be covered, I can put my knot in the back of the batting there because it's not going to show. This is going to be covered with the other page, which I did show how to correct that mistake in the other needle book that I was doing that I forgot. And all my work on the back was going to show. So I did show how I am correcting that situation. Also on this smaller needle book, that was also shown. So you will want to go back and see that, a good tip on what not to do when you are starting your needle book. But so there, in that little short period of time there, I just did the French knots along there. And I think what I have planned for some of the rest of this is I am going to do a decorative stitch around the little hexagons that are in this fabric right here. I am going to do a stem stitch around the circles of these X's in this fabric. Where the stars are on the 30s doggy print will also be white French knots. That's what I have decided today. And because I am obsessed, there is a whole lot of polka dots on this yellow one, and I will probably do French knots on every single one of those. Also, and then do some stitching on these flowers that are in there as well. And I haven't decided for sure what I'm doing on the butterfly fabric here, but that's what will be done on the front portion yet. And then on this back page already, I have done stem stitch and lazy daisy for the leaves that are look like the vine going around those flowers. That has been done. Oh, can't think of the, look at that under there. Oh, that is either a feather or a fern stitch right there. That is going down that. But yeah, haven't decided totally on what I will be doing for the stitching on all of that yet. But I will bring it out from time to time and show the progress being made on that stitching. So I'm just going to park my needle right there for now. And we did at least get a little bit of work done on that this morning. Time goes by a whole Nightbox deleted Stir. She must have put too many emojis or used too many capitals in it. I'm sorry, Stir. Nightbot doesn't like that. But it's like, you want to dance? They just have their funny way of doing things, don't they? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Stir. I think I need to. The only problem is that does keep some of the stuff off. So I hate to turn it off. So you just need to not use too many emojis or too many oh yeah, and you can't post links unless you are a moderator. So yeah, it will stop you on that immediately. Only moderators are able to post links and myself in there. Sorry about that. That's to, keep something that shouldn't be coming up. So if there is something, if it's something that we can pull and drop instead, let us know, Stir. Sorry about that. And Eva says, I would tell you, but husband is here. It's a Chris. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, Eva. So it was you that I saw something pop up. I was going to use my DMC floss from cross stitching to begin practicing embroidery. Any tips or ideas, or should I order something more like the put? No, use whatever you have, Lynn. I also use DM. I have, I use all different. Down here is some that I got just as samples to try out. But this is, what is this? This is the Sulky Blendables. This is a type of thread that I use all different kinds of threads. Whatever I have that will work and is the color that I need, that is what I get. I do have DMC floss that are included in some of these others. In fact, I know that I have DMC floss that I am using, I do believe. Oh, let me check. I have different containers for each project, so, and I don't remember what I have in here, but I have to show you because these are some of the things that go in the pockets. I will show you that. And also I do have my favorite embroidery needles here, so I will share that with you. But this is some of the stuff that is going to go in. Whoa! Well, we have to get that off the floor before Whip decides it's a toy for him. But this is just a cute little, decorative needle threader. I don't think you can probably, there you can see the wire on there, but that's going to go in one of the pockets on there. These are my favorite embroidery needles, which it is the bone. And you can get those off Amazon, or any of your local quilt shops normally carry those. But that's my favorite needles. Those go into one of the pockets. And then these are some decorative little free printables off of Pinterest. And that is some of the items that will be going in there. These are my favorite hand quilting needles. They are hard to get. Colonial Needle Company is the resource that I use for that because they are just hard to get a hold of. But those are my favorite hand quilting needles. So those go in the one pocket. And the reason that it caught my eye is because we have a bag of tea to also go. So when you have that needle book somewhere other than not being at home, you have a bag of tea to make yourself a cup of tea wherever you may be joining someone else quilting along. So those are some of the items that I have in here that go in the pockets of that. And of course, also a little pair of decorative embroidery scissors and a needle minder that will be going with that needle book when it is done. But the threads I already have, and I know they're not in there, but they're in one of my other, and I know it was just sitting around here, but I have moved it, so I can't find it presently. But yes, I use DMC floss. I have some old Anchor floss. I have floss that has no name, threads, anything. So yeah, it does not have to be the Valdani Pearl cotton. I use that and have that more for yeah, decorative purposes of, and I don't know why I moved that way over there, of some of the other types of embroidery work that I do, and also for wool embroidery and that type of thing. So yeah, just use whatever you have, Lynn. Do not go out and purchase the more expensive stuff to start off with. You especially don't want to use it for learning and practicing. Little costly for that. So I hope that answered your question there. And yes, Eva says she uses DMC for her embroidery. And Danielle said, I didn't post a link. I don't know how to. Huh. Well, I wonder why I'm sorry, Stir. I don't know what you posted that it didn't like, but sorry about that. I know it wasn't anything bad coming from you at all. It's just Nightbot gets a little picky at times. And Danielle says, gotta run for now, so I'll talk to you later. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you, Danielle. Take care, my dear little daughter. And he just gave me a look. He's so funny. Oh, that's funny, Eva. I like that. Okay, great. Thank you, says Lynn. Yes, hope I was able to give you some ideas there. And Melody Kiefer is just joining us. Welcome, Melody. I'm glad that you joined us this morning. You are going to want to go back and catch the replay. The majority of the important, meaningful information was in the beginning. We've kind of been chatting a lot ever since. Didn't get as much done as what I intended on there, but I will probably also be doing some of this as a recorded tutorial. It is a little easier to stay on task and show some of the stuff that's done in a recorded tutorial rather than trying to do that and chat at the same time. So look for that also for those of you that are working along on these with me. Okay, so Jean, I know you cross stitch. I have been asked to give lesson. Could you give lessons? I'm not set up for lessons. I could, yes, that is something that I would do through Zoom. You'll have to get with me and we can discuss that, Eva. So we'll talk about that off the live in Messenger or something and see what it is that you need for that. Even I'll see if that is something that I am able to do and able to add to my schedule. So, and Gladys the Confident Quilter is here as well. And if you drop, just put exclamation point selfie, all small letters, SELFIE in the chat, Gladys, your link will pop up so others can check that out as well. But it is a little bit afternoon, and I did not get to the binding, which all I was going to do is I have the strips sitting over here at the sewing machine that need to be pieced together to start the, I need to put my page back in here so I do not lose it, that I have for the 30s tumbler charity quilt that I was working on. I have finished that, and I have the binding to make for that. So I was going to get that ready while I was on here as well. But rather than boring you all with that, and I know there are some of you that need to leave, I will not I don't know why Gladys's message, oh, she retracted it herself. Okay, so you are welcome, Eva. Yeah, just when you have something like that, I'm open to any questions and anything that you may have, and more than willing to, if you email or private message, whatever, I will get together with you on that. And it is much easier. I will let all of you know I do respond to Facebook Messenger a lot quicker than any other form of trying to get in touch with me. So if you are in the Facebook group, you will be able to get a hold of me that way. Otherwise, you can email me. I may not see it that day. That is not something that I check as often as the other. I get notifications on that on my email. I don't, so I just have to remember to go and do it. Oh, you spelled it wrong. Okay, no problem. But there it is. So thank you again, everyone, for joining me. I hope I have again inspired you in some way as we talked about whips again, either to get working on those whips, if you are doing the jellied charm quilt, to get caught up on that, as we will in April be starting our next quarterly stitch along, which I have shared that information on what it is going to be. I will be showing it again, possibly on Friday. I will do a reminder of what that project is going to be, and have inspired some of you to go ahead and start working on a needle book, as hopefully some of you from last week have already been pulling some of your supplies together and getting ready to do that. So thanks again, everyone. I hope that you have a great week, and I will be seeing you again soon. And don't forget, hopefully I will be able to get my week in review, which is actually 2 weeks now because it wasn't done last week because of the charity quilt along marathon. I wasn't able to get that done. And then I had internet issues yesterday, so wasn't able to do that and upload it. So I will be getting to that at some point in time today, I hope. If not, it will be tomorrow at the latest. So watch for the week in review, which will include, I'm sorry, not from others, because I don't know how to edit, but I will, those of you that have shared your projects in the Facebook group, I will be printing off a photo of your quilt and at least be able to hold them up and show, but I will be doing a trunk show of the quilts for charity during that week in review also. So be sure and check that either later today or tomorrow at the latest. So thank you, everyone. Again, have a great week. Take care. And remember, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.